Hi, I'm Andy. I'm a long-time player of EVE, and I've meant to try and make some videos for newbie players. There's a really good tradition at the moment of people making videos where they impose restrictions on themselves to make it harder. So I thought I'd have a go at doing that with a character called Lowgun Nogun. So the idea is that I'm going to try and earn a Billion ISK without ever firing a gun or missile or laser, which makes life kind of interesting for myself. I'm also going to make things harder for myself by not choosing Gallente ships. Now, when you're a new player, you get to pick one of the 4 main races. Doesn't affect gameplay as such, but it can affect where you start in the game. So if you imagine there's a whole enormous universe in front of you to start making your way in. Gallente ships have a bonus mostly towards drones, and if I can't use guns, missiles or lasers, I'm going to be reliant on drones to do some damage. If I restrict myself to not using Gallente ships, it also means I can't use any of the really good industrial ships that have some fantastic bonuses as well. So I'm thinking that I'm going to be either Minmatar or Amar in Origin, or Amarian. I do love the shiny gold ships for Amar, and the famous ships that look like they're thrown together by the Minmatars. In Rust we trust, as they say. But yeah, I think I'm going to try making a brand new character in Amar space, and I'm going to try and earn a Billion ISK without firing a gun. So that could be kind of fun. So here we go. Let's and again, these options here, picking a gender or picking a racial origin, doesn't affect the gameplay, doesn't affect what ships you can fly. It does affect where you start in the map, so it's not super critical. I'm gonna pick this one here. I'm not particularly into customizing appearances and what have you, so let's keep it fairly dull. I usually try and make my characters look elderly, and yeah, you'll do. That's fine. Let's move on. And you get to choose your name. So let's see if I can get Lowgun in. Lowgun Nogun. Oh, I've got a tick. That's fine. So Lowgun Nogun is born. Here we go. I'm going to skip the introduction videos. There is a way of starting as a newbie player with 1,000,000 bonus skill points, and I'll put the link in the description underneath, as well as some links to some amazing videos by other long experienced players. And here we go, a little bit of an introduction. Aura is kind of the tutorial guide. I think we're probably going to skip through a lot of this as well. There we go. Next. And my background is I've been playing this game for almost 20 years. My original character got deleted, so my current main character is about 13 years old. And I think we can escape past this or space past this. Skip tutorial, there we go. The last time I had a go at setting up a newbie character, I was able to get to about 500 million. So hopefully we'll get to do at least twice that. Here we go. So the initial few tutorial missions that we get to run, 1 or 2 of them require you to have a gun fitted on your ship. So what I'll do is I'll put a civilian gun on and I'll deactivate it so that I can't be accused of cheating. And here we go. So first thing to do is to try and find some agents, and I must admit I thought I thought you automatically started in a station with some agents, but let's have a little look, see. So we are looking for agents. Career. So it's important to always have something in your skill queue. You can see that I've added some drone skills already. As we've discussed, I'm going to be relying on drones quite a lot. Let's have a quick look at the we've got a few skills already queued up, which is quite good. Spaceship command, let's look at those. Spaceship command. Oh, I've got drones still in the word there in the search bar. Right then. So we're going to be using Amar frigates to start with, so we're going to add a couple of levels of that in the queue as well. And we're going to also be doing a bit of mining as well, so I'm going to add a couple of levels of mining frigates there. And then as we need more skills as we go, we can add them as we go along. Okay, so I'm going to do another little cheeky trick now. Lots of people will tell you different ways to have your screen set up. I like to have my inventory up on there. You can also see what, if anything, I've got in my ship. There's a section here which lets you know how many ships I own. And I've also, in each station, you can also store items that you're not currently using as well. And they show up in the item hanger here. Up in this corner here, if you click the character sheet, this is what we're going to be relying on to give an idea of how much the character is worth. So at the moment he's worth 75, almost 75,500 ISK, and we're hoping to get that to 1 billion in a relatively short time. So I'm going to do one little saucy trick. If I leave the ship and I strip the fittings, there's a lot of warning tabs. You can see it's taken all of the equipment off of that ship. If I then trash it, I've still got the fittings, and there's an option here, board my Corvette, which means I get another Corvette. It's not worth anything, so it doesn't add anything of value, but what I can do is, if I'm doing a mining mission, for example, I could put 2 mining lasers on there. There we are. Like this, for example. Now the civilian mining lasers are very basic. They've got a very short range and they only mine a relatively small amount. But I think we will start by doing the industrialist missions. Okay, so the first mission is, let's try and make this a little bigger, and it's telling me that I need to put some data sheets in my ship, and it tells me that I need to pick these data sheets up from this station and take it one jump to the next system over, and I'm going to get a nice little wedge of ISK for my troubles, so I'm going to accept that. Okay, and if I look in my item hanger, you should see the data sheets there, and if I drag them into my ship, there we go. And this is where Eve is quite neat. You can set your destination here, and it lays out the journey for you up here. So I'm going to minimize this one for a minute, and I'm going to undock. If you hear noises in the background, I do live near a busy road, and I'm also drinking a cup of tea, and in a minute I'm going to be drinking wine, which is my normal way of playing Eve. Can you see the system RBAS is flashing up in the window here? If I right click on it and choose jump, my Corvette will jump through to the next system. Think of the systems as rooms. Each room has at least one doorway, which in-game is called a gate. And a bit like a lot of games, doorways and gates are where people may choose to try and attack you when you go through. Now in the starter systems, and as a new player to start with, you're probably not going to get attacked. But there's a couple of golden rules with Eve. You're always to some level unsafe. Somebody could decide to just shoot you for a giggle and steal your stuff. But the flip side to that is that you could also decide to shoot someone and steal their stuff as well, which is kind of fun. I prefer to make ships and make fittings for the ships, and also mine. My favourite Eve occupation is to sit and have a glass of wine and mine. I've clicked the option to dock at the next station. Can you see that it's got a yellow colour to it? So that's where I need to drop off my data sheets. There's a couple of other things that we can talk about as well. Down in this section here, you've got the local chat. This also tells you how many other people are in the system with you. If I make the list compact, then you can get them all in. So in this system, there's 7. Because it's a relatively safe system, it's got a security rating of 0.9, which means you're pretty much unlikely to be attacked, but nothing's impossible. There we are. So I've completed that first mission. I've earned almost 500,000 ISK. That's quite positive. I'm going to head back to this guy and do another one. So set the destination, undock the ship. I'm also hoping that if I make a few videos that I'll start to get quite good at things like editing and talking and what have you. So apologies in advance for the lack of polish. Hopefully over time that will improve. Hopefully I will be as good as some of the absolutely legendary YouTubers. I'm thinking of Loru Gaming is one. There's another character called Magaibo, who, if you want to learn the life of a ganker, he is an absolute legend. I'll put links to all of these people in the comments below. Also, I'll put a link in for the 1 million skill point buddy bonus. Just about everybody that makes Eve videos on YouTube has their buddy bonus link up as well. If you sign up using my link and then eventually go on to actually pay for the game, either in-game or using real-world money, I'll get a little bonus somewhere along the way. It's not happened yet. I've had about 25 people use my buddy bonus. I live in anticipation. There we go. Can you see here that there's a list of whereabouts I have left some of my possessions? I don't quite know why I've got a impair there. Oh well, never mind. Let's have a look and see how much my net worth has gone up. Okay, so according to this, we've only done one mission and I've already earned 500,000 ISK. So what's that? 0.5% of the way to the total. There we go. You can see that there's a few other ships docking up at the station at the same time. That's what these little symbols are here. Hopefully we'll get into all of that too. There we are. So let's take the next mission. All good. Right, here we go. So if I take this mission, I will be granted a civilian salvager. This is a piece of equipment that I'll attach to the ship. If I complete the mission, I get given a venture, which is an absolutely awesome mining ship. Let's have a quick look at the information on that one. There we are. And yep, I've got all the skills needed to fly it. But let's have a quick look at the bonuses and what have you. So if you train up the skills listed, so if you train up the mining frigate bonuses, put the mining frigate skills, you'll get bonuses to your mining yield and gas cloud scoop duration. And you can also get extra bonuses as well down here, so that's quite positive. The Venture is a fantastic ship to start mining with. There's some other interesting bonuses with it, but we'll come to that. So what do I need to do? I need to find a black box, and I need to bring it back to this station here. So there is going to be what we call rats, which is the middle part of the word pirates. If I find any Blood Raider pirates hanging around, then I should kill them. So I'm going to need to attach some drones. So 5 meters square means I can have 1 drone. So let's accept this mission, and let's have a look and see what drones we've got in the local market. So this little symbol here will open up the market. Let's go to combat. We need to go for light drones because that's all we're going to have any skills for. Hobgoblins and warriors and hornets, they are color coded for the different main factions. They have different damage types. I think we're going to look at the hobgoblins, and you can see that the cheapest ones are about 4,000 each, but they're 9 jumps away. So I was ideally hoping for something a little bit. Oh, if I buy one in station, it's nearer 6,000, but I think at this point we're going to have to. So let's buy 4 of those bad boys, and let me just check that I have the skills to fly that. Show info, requirements. So I need to have trained up light drone operation, which is going to cost me a certain amount. Let's go buy and train, buy and inject. There are less expensive ways of getting the skills than just injecting them remotely, but we will touch upon that as well. I'm going to put that one up to level 2, and I'm going to use some of my skill points on that. Apply skill points, and apply skill points. I think I'm going to need to go up to 4 so I can have 4 drones, or is it that one? Light drones, okay. So let us add up to level 4 into the skill queue as well. It may well be as we get better ships that rather than just having space for 1 drone, we might be able to have more than 1. So there we are. So what am I doing? I need to fit the civilian salvager on as well. So I'm going to open my ship fitting window here. I'm going to take off one of my miners, add my salvager. Oh, I wonder if I could put some modules on. No, we'll come to that. So this is, I thought we were going to come to this at some point. It does say that you need to have a weapon fitted. So this is one of the missions where I'm going to have the weapon fitted, but I'm going to have it offline. So I'm not cheating. If you undock without the weapon fitted, the tutorial guide screams at you to dock up again, and it's a bit tedious. Well, we can live without that, can't we? Here we are. So there we go. It's telling me to warp to the site. So can you see this little tab here? So this mission is in the system that we're in. So I'm just going to hit that button to warp to the site, and let's see what exotic delights we've got waiting for us. There's an extra box open here, which is my drones box. There we go, and you can see my single hobgoblin. It causes 8.8 damage per second, which in the great scheme of the game is absolutely nothing. It's like stepping out into the jungle as a day-old kitten, but that's kind of fun. Here we go. And there's a nice effect of traveling through space, which is really, really cool. And here we go. So this is a warp gate or acceleration gate. If I activate that, it's going to send me to like a subsection of the room, so another room wherein there will be the mission objectives. And here we go. Oh yeah, that's a good call. So the machine's traveling at 328 meters per second. If I hit the civilian afterburner, that will almost double. Can you see that I'm approaching the acceleration gate that little bit quicker? Oh, and it started to activate. That's good. So I'm gonna, oh, yep, there we are. I'm gonna turn that off to save on my ship's power. Oh, there we are. So here's the civilian transport wreck. If I hold control and then left click, I'll lock that up as a target. And you can see here we've got the rat. I'm going to right click and lock that one up as a target as well. I'm going to approach the civilian transport wreck, so right click and approach. As we get into the game a bit more, there are other things that you can do rather than just flying straight at the wreck. You can orbit the wreck, which is probably a better thing, which means it's harder for the rats to kill you. I'm going to launch my drone, and I'm going to, you can see I'm targeting the Blood Raider rookie, and if I press the F, my drone will attack. There we are, so it's causing some damage, and while that's happening, we're in range of the civilian salvager, so I'm going to salvage the transport wreck. Oh, there's some loot in the rat as well. So you can see that up in the top of the screen there, my salvager is stripping any useful parts from the civilian transport, and I'm going to just do the same. I'm going to open cargo. There we go. And we've got some metal scraps, which is quite good. We'll reprocess that into some useful stuff at some point. There's the black box that I salvaged from the original. I get into the habit of salvaging everything, especially early on, because it's the closest thing to free money that you'll get in EVE. We'll have a conversation about that down the line as well. Okay, because my skills are very low, let's have a quick look at the salvager skills. So show info. What do I need? I need no skills for that one. Okay, we'll look at some salvaging skills in a minute as well. So salvage. And there we are. So there are 10 modules with salvage in their name. So salvager 1 is a slightly better version of the civilian salvager that we've got at the moment. And what skills do we need for that one then? Oh, we've got all the skills. Oh, that's quite positive. We shall get one of those in a bit then. So I've managed to get some metal scraps, and because I'm relying on my drones, I'm going to return that one to the drone bay so I don't leave it in space. There have been some developments in the game where they warn you if you're about to warp away and leave your drones behind, which is quite useful because I must have left hundreds of them dotted around the system along the way. So let's have a quick look at my skills a second as well. Drones. Yeah, okay, that's cool. I'm hoping that once we've run a few of these missions, we'll start to get some slightly better ships as rewards. I think the first one that we get, as we looked at earlier on, is a Venture, which is a specialised mining ship. And there we are. One of the things that we will discuss along the way as well is that there are hundreds of different career options. Some people make money by building and selling stuff. Other people make money by shooting and destroying stuff. And some people do a little bit of everything, which is kind of fun. There we are, so we'll complete that mission. There we go, so we're 2 out of 10 in the first lot of industrial missions. So let's request the next one. So we need to obtain 333 tritanium, and we need to drop it back off to this station. We're going to get a reprocessing skill for it, and we're going to get a decent wedge. And we will get, rather than using the basic civilian miner, we will get a actual decent miner, which we will happily use. Let's take all of these bits and bobs and put them in the item hanger. We will take the salvager off of our Impera and put that in there, because we're going to try and use that. So we're going to accept that mission there, and we should now in our ship hangar have a brand new shiny in its original packaging Venture, which is fantastic. Let's give it. So some of the things that the bad people out there are looking for are newbies, and going out with your basic standard issue name is one of the things that lets the gankers know that you're a newbie. Oh, there's a nice little video there. Oh, how exciting. It's been a while since I've seen any of these videos. Each time you board a new ship, you get a little introductory video like that, which is kind of fun. So he's given me the mission, so I'm going to minimize him for a minute. Let me open up the ship fitting window again. So there's the miner that we've got there. Let's put some drones in. Oh, you can get 2 drones in this bad boy. Again, it's telling me to install a weapon as well. But again, I'm going to put that one offline. And I'm going to put my civilian salvager in there. We have got a few extra little slots here that at some point we're going to start putting some modules in. You can put a module in the low slot that improves your mining yield, which is quite useful. You can also put a module in here that makes your ship a little bit tougher. So at the moment we've got about just under 1,000 hit points. Most of that is in shields, so there would be advantages to putting modules on here that make the shields a bit tougher. It's giving me a warning trial telling me that I've got an offline module, but that's much better than the other annoying messages that we get. So we're all ready. We've got our drones loaded up in the drone bay, ready to attack. And let's undock. Here we go. Oh, yes, we're going to win some bonus points up there as well, which we'll look at in a second. Okay, so warp to site. So again, this is another mission that is in the same system, so we don't have to jump anywhere exciting. There is the Air Career program that gives you extra rewards and ISK as well, which is quite useful. We'll claim all of that stuff. So as you do a certain number of jumps, as you mine, as you kill things, you get these bonuses. We're in the middle of this goldy coloured nebula, which is one of the ways you can tell you're in Amar space. I might wiggle the screen around a little bit, because sometimes if it's pointing straight at the system sun, it can all be a bit bright and hard to see what's going on. So if I move over to the mining tab at the top here, I've got a Veldspar rock, and oh, I'm a bit far away, let's approach it. Veldspar is one of the rocks that when refined gives you tritanium, which is what we're looking for this mission. Oh, there we go. The mining laser has a range of 10 kilometers. So if I click on the rock and say I'm going to orbit it at 2.5 kilometers, and then I'm going to mine, you can see that there's quite a fun little go. Oh yes, it's telling us that this is the ship's capacitor. Each module typically affects how much power and how much computer your machine, your spaceship uses. And there we are. Some modules use more of one and some use more of the other. You can't fit more modules than your ship can handle, but you can train skills that improve both of those things, basically. I'm going to turn the... Oh. Oh, somebody's walked in. There we go. So one of the rats has walked in. I'm just going to hold off a second before I launch my drones because I want to show you something. Can you see that I am... There we go. He's trying to attack me now. Can you see that as I'm moving, the rat is only doing a really small amount of damage, and sometimes they miss me altogether. If I stop dead in space, you'll see that damage go up quite dramatically. There we go. Oh, he's still missing me because I'm still moving. But if I stop dead, you should see in the middle of the screen here how much damage he's doing. Oh, he's not. I think he must be a newbie. Let's put him out of his misery. Right. So I've only got the skills to control one drone. Okay, so I'm going to need to have a quick look at what skills I need to train. There we go. It's because I'm only on drones 1. Drones 2. Okay, that's fine. So that's going to take a little minute there. So if I pause training and just apply the skills. There we are. You can see my million skill points has gone down a little. Just going to put my skills back training again. There we go. Perfect. And oh, there we are. Oh, we have got a wreck to salvage as well. Let's add the wreck to the overview. Oh, it's not letting us, of course, because we're still in the newbie bit. There we are. So I'm going to salvage this, and I'm also going to take any loot inside as well. If you look at the wrecks, can you see that the middle section is kind of greyed out? That tells us that there is something inside that we can salvage. Oh, hello. Nice. There's a little shield. Oh no, I think that might have been one of the rewards that we were just given. So open cargo. Yeah, that's fine. Perfect. So you can see I'm taking the opportunity to salvage that wreck as well. I think we can now launch 2 drones. Let's have a little look. See. Oh, no. Launch drones. Yes, we can launch 2. Fantastic. We don't need them out for a minute. There we go. Energy sword. Yep. Thank you very much. That's kind of saying what we were just saying a minute ago. There we are. Right, so I think the rock is nearly exhausted. Oh no, we can use the mining surveyor. Oh yes, that's another useful module we can put on. There we go. So in our mining hold, we've got a big lump of Veldspar. It's telling us that we've met the mission requirement there, so we've got more than 200 units of Veldspar, but I'm making the most of it there. There we go. So let's turn off our laser. We've got our drones. Let's go back to the dock. So we're probably going to fit some modules. Let's look. There's a useful one called a damage control. Let's see if there's any cheap ones nearby. Damage control. View market details. Okay, there isn't one nearby. Okay, so if I buy one in the station, it's 8,000. If I fly 9 jumps away, I can get one for half price. I think I'm going to get a couple of them here, just for these missions. There we go. Okay, you can see my balance has gone down a little. And let's, we go. So you'll notice that I've mined some Veldspar rock, but the agent is asking for some tritanium or no, excuse me, minerals. We also, this is why I suggest we get into the habit of salvaging everything. If we reprocess some of our loot that we pick up, for example, if I reprocess these, those 3 metal scraps produce 750 titanium. So that's effectively minerals for nothing, which is quite good. There we go. Oh, social, that's quite a useful skill to have. Let's inject that skill so we can have it ready. Social is, it means you get better, I think you get better rates of pay from the agents. So if we go social, and as an alpha character I can train it up 3 points there. Skill at social interaction, 5% bonus per level to NPC agent, corporation and faction standing increase. Oh, that's quite useful. Let's put a couple of levels of that in the queue as well. There we are. And social 2. Perfect. So I think what we'll do is we'll get drones 3. Can you see here as well that we've effectively listed, we've put a load of skills in a queue, 5 days worth. So what that means is when I log off and go to bed, my skills are still building up, which is quite cool. The civilian modules, they don't reprocess into anything. If I show you on here, it doesn't give you the option to reprocess them. So you can't just get free corvettes everywhere and reprocess them. Let me just get so the Veldspar I'm going to reprocess as well. Because I'm a very basic new character, I've only got 50% return on my reprocessing. There are skills that you can train, and there are different stations that give you different bonuses as well, but we can get into that at some point too. So I have a big lump of minerals. Put that all in my item hanger. So there you go, I've got a big wedge of titanium. All of the mission requirements are green now, which means I'm good. So I'm going to start my conversation with Aldu. And there we go. So complete mission. Fantastic. So now I've got a reprocessing skill book as well, which I'm going to add. Train now to level 1. Yeah, we'll do that. What that means is that we get a slightly higher return on our reprocessed materials. Okay, so what is the next mission that we're going to do? So here we go. Data drop off. Here we go. Listening post. I want you to use your data analyzer and hack open the data storage device for me. Okay. Ah, yeah, there we go. So I'll be given a civilian data analyzer. That's fine. There we are. And I'll get a bit of cash for that as well. Super. So I have a civilian data analyzer, and I think we'll keep to the venture for this one, I think. So let's have a little look. See, ship fitting, and I'm going to put the data analyzer in one of those spare medium slots. There we go. And I'm also so EM shield. These are the different resistance that my venture has. Can you see that the explosive and the kinetic and the thermal damages? I've got a few bonuses there, but I've got a little bit of a gap in the EM resistance. So if I fit this module here and I simulate the fit, you'll see that there's it's filled in that gap in the resistances there, which is quite good. Do you remember that we were just under 1,000 hit points before? We're just over 1,000 hit points now. If I then add here we go. If I add my damage control module as well, can you see that the hit points goes up quite a bit there. That's quite good. And that looks good. Right, so let us go and analyze this data module. There's one of the really useful mini games is it's classed as exploration, where you analyze different sites and you get some really useful loot drop from them, which especially early on is a really good way of making a pile of money. So I'm hoping that a future video will get into a bit of that too. Here we go, we're flying over to the next site. Here we are. Right then. Oh, did I see? Oh, I thought I saw a rat then, but clearly not. We've got another acceleration gate, so let's activate the gate. These are all the modules that I've got fitted on the ship. You'll find your preferred ways to arrange everything. I usually keep it this way so that you can activate, like this first button, the miner, I can activate with F1, F2 for the salvager. I might swap those two around, there we are, and F3 for the afterburner. There we are. Oh, there we go. So I can see that we have a data storage device here, which is what we've got to use our data analyzer on. And we've also got a rat. So let me launch a couple of drones at him. So there we are. We can. I'm going to hit the F key to send my drones after the Blood Raider rookie. And there we are. Now there's two of them in space. They should see him off quite quickly. Interestingly, it looks like he's got an Impera ship as well, same as our Corvette in the station. We shall have a bit of his stuff in a minute. So the civilian data analyzer has a range of 5 kilometers, and we're within that, so I'm going to turn that one on as well. Here we go. And this is the data and relic analyzer mini game. So you start here. Usually the target is the furthest point away from you here, but you have to move along. Oh, there we are. There's this little X here is the target. If I double click on that, it tells me that I've been successful. If I open the cargo, there's the encoded chip that the agent wanted. There we are. And I'm just going to hit the loot all button there. I'm also going to just skip over and salvage that wreck as well. Oh, I'm within range, so let me just open it up. Yay, metal scraps. You'll have quite a lot of metal scraps to start with. And I think, there we go, that's going to take a minute. You can see that the encoded data chip in the mission details there is green, which means I've got it on the ship. And it's telling me that I need to get back to Dpari 2, which is the name of the station that we're going to see the agent at in a minute. Oh, I can pull my drones in now, can't I? Here we are. There we go. There we go. That's looking good. Oh, I think we've got some more bonuses. 1 unclaimed reward. Oh, that's a nice little bonus there. And this is the daily opportunities tags. Oh, and I've also got some bonuses to claim there too. Hopefully we'll get a few more of those. Earn 50 loyalty points for any corporation. We might have a little go at that at some point as well. Okay, so I've salvaged the ship. I've got some more metal scraps, and I'm going to warp back to the agent station. Let's have a look and see how our wealth is accumulating. Oof, we're almost up to our first million. That's quite cool. What it bases that on is your ISK balance and how much stuff you have as well, I believe. Yeah, net worth, that's fine. agent tab. And complete mission. That should push us over the million. Yep, there we go. 1.2 million. Fantastic. The wealth is flying in. Let's have a look at what other items we've got here. Okay. Let's move those into the item hanger. Brilliant. So we are 4 missions in out of 10 with this agent. We need to bring an encoded data chip to, oh, that's good, a station 6 jumps away, and we'll be given some extra, oh, there we go, the inertial stabilizer. That's a fantastic module. What that does is it makes your ship align to warp a bit quicker, which means it's easier. You're harder to hit if you can align to warp quicker. We get a bonus of an expanded cargo hold and some ISK. So yeah, we're definitely going to accept that one there. Let's keep it in the venture just because he's doing us quite well so far. Let me show you. Let's close that one for now. Let's go onto the ship and let us. So do you remember that we've got the damage control module in the low slot at the moment? This particular one, this particular ship takes 5.3 seconds, 5.35 seconds to align. So if I click on an object and say warp to this object, it typically takes about that long before the ship jumps to warp. While you're at warp, you're harder to kill. Remember, nothing's going to make you unkillable. If I swap that damage control module out for the inertial stabilizer, so we've almost lost a second off our align time, which is quite significant. Anything under 3 seconds, it's pretty hard to get you when you jump from gates. So I think we'll put the inertial stabilizer in for now, just because we're going to be jumping between 6 gates at least. So here we go, let's undock. And it should, if I set the destination, you can see here the systems that we're going to be jumping through. And the next gate in order is Arbaz. So if I jump through that one there, it should, in theory, align and jump quite quickly. There we go. Once the warp drive active comes up there, it's impossible for anyone to target you, which, as you've seen with the rats, you have to click target and then launch whatever weapons at them. Oh, I'm getting a few bonuses here. Let's get some more there. So I'm going to claim some there. Oh, I might have actually made some loyalty points. That's, oh, not quite. No, I got excited for nothing there. So you see here now that there are 5 jumps lined up. The next one is Chaven. What I try and do with Eve, one of the useful tips that I could give is you need to try and be making money while you're making money. So we'll get into things that you can do that make money while you're asleep or while you're running other missions. But I don't know that we particularly need any other modules for a minute, but we'll do a bit of that at some point as well. We'll do a bit of shopping at some point too. Here we are, Chaven. 17 people in local, so this is quite a busy system. This is a 1.0 security status, so I suspect that this is a starting system. Usually the starting systems are the safest systems, especially to start with. I think as a new character, you're harder to kill. I might have to look that information up. I think you've got a. There you go. Oh no! If I stay online for 2 hours, I'll get an extra wedge of ISK. Gosh. Okay. Thank you, Eve. We are. Three more jumps. Copper. Oh, one of the things that you'll see as well is various people from various countries with different accents all have very different names for these systems. And also we get into the habit of calling them things which may not be accurate. So yeah, apologies in advance if the way I say it doesn't sound like the voice in your head says it. There we go. I love the animation for this. Okay, so EdenCom means that there's a couple of the factions, the in-game factions that are at war in this system, and as long as you've got okay standings with both of them, you should be perfectly fine. But if you've killed a lot of one or other of the factions, you'll have a low standing with one of them and a higher standing with the other. But again, we won't worry about that to start with. Yeramoon? Yeramoun? Yeah. Please feel free to criticize my pronunciation, even though I try and talk like the Queen. Excuse me, King. Here we are. 2 more jumps to go. I think new players get bonuses for the more jumps they get as well, or the more jumps they do. Etav is the next jump. Yeramoon, probably Mound. If it had a D on the end, it would be Mound, wouldn't it? There we go. Here we go. This system has 4 people in it, and it's a 0.8 system. The security status, the lower this number here, so high sex base is between 1 and 0.5, and the lower the number, the longer the in-game police will come to your rescue. So here we are in Etav, and here's the station that we're aiming for here. So if I right click on here and then dock, I don't know if you saw that little notice that came up in the bottom right of the screen there. It said that the pirate faction has lowered its standing towards me. As your standing gets lower and lower with one faction, it typically goes higher with another faction. Eve is kind of set up so that different factions are in opposition to each other. So as you kill the rats, then, you know, justifiably their friends get more upset with you. We are, oh, look at this, that station is stunning. There we are. So I'm going to click on agent, complete mission. There we are. So my standings are going up there. That's really good. It's maybe worth mentioning as well, I tend to have my graphics on my computer set relatively low. That's why it all looks a bit cartoony. I quite like the cartoony look of it. You can make it look absolutely stunning, which is kind of cool. But for the purposes of this, I think we're better off just keeping it playable. Right, so we're going to head back to this dude here. Oh, there are a couple of other. I'm going to take one of these extra mining missions here, just because the mission, the daily task mission here is to get 50 loyalty points for any corporation. I think the level 1 mining missions are just below 50 points. So I'm going to just take one of these and have a little look-see. Oh no, 63 loyalty points, so I think that's worth doing. If I take on this mining mission here from a level 1 agent, which is open to pretty much everyone, I'm going to need to mine 20,000 Banadine, which is 2,000 meters cubed, and I've got 5,000 meters cubed of space here. I wonder if I've got if I can get an extra mining laser in the local area. Let's have a little look see. So if I put in laser ship equipment, there we go. Oh no, we don't want any of those, do we? I have a look for mining? Mining laser upgrade. Miner, isn't it? Sorry, let's have a look. Miner. There we go. That's better. So these are the miner ones, are the very basic ones. Oh gosh, there's none locally, so we won't be looking for those. Let us look for. Nope, there's none of those. Okay. Yeah, we won't do the mining mission just now because it's quite. I've only got one mining laser equipped. It'll take a bit of time. So let's head back to this dude. So set destination. I might just pause the game until I get back because this is just going to be more of the same. There we are. See you in a minute.